Okay, so having the background and title and a basic holder for the player right now, let's draw a map into display. So background would be the very back, and then display is above that, and then car layer is above display. Car layer will be where the player gets drawn ultimately. But now let's draw onto display one of the maps. Okay, we'll draw level 1. The way we do that is using the BlitMath class to speed things up. Specific pattern blit. Okay, it's similar to copy pixels, except it's copying a pattern. Okay, so we tell it where we're copying to. This not display. We're copying from this dot image, the sprite sheet, and what we're copying is going to be maps dot level 1. Okay, so display, background layer, display, and car layer get copied from onto the camera layer is how it renders the scene. Okay, so now if we save that and run it, we've got a start screen, and there we go. A background, and the level is also drawn, which continues this way. This level was made like this. Okay, we know the columns are 68, the rows are 20, and update that. Choose a file. Okay, so we can even come in here, go to maps, level 1, copy this, come back to the array tool, paste it in here, take away this bottom spaces, take away the top spaces, and then it should work. There we go. Okay, so we can draw from an array. That's how you would save your work pretty much, is that you have the array. Okay, so there's level 1, and let's say we wanted to add something to it. We just take this and okay, and then we click on specific, and we can just select all, copy, paste it in as level 1. Okay, it's a little bit differently formatted in here. It doesn't matter too much as long as it's the array. Save this. Okay, and now in the game also, there's our bricks that we drew in. Okay, so that's making maps with the array, with this array animation object maker, which this is the from art to code section on the Tabageos website, which is /FromArtToCode. That's where it is online. On the GitHub, this thing is available as a folder that you can run on your own offline from the that's available to download from the GitHub. So you could use it here, or you could download it from the GitHub. Okay, so that's a little bit about making maps. Okay, so we've got our title screen displayed, background, basic placeholder for the player, and we've used specific pattern blit of the BlitMath class to draw map level 1 into display. Okay, so next let's make the player more involved. Let's go ahead and finish the player. So the player will be This guy here will use all these animations. Now the basic ninja class makes it to where it can automatically double jump, wall slide, and wall jump. We just have to define those animations. Okay, so to define the animations, we'll say var player animation is going to be a new canvas animation. Okay, the source is this .image, the sprite sheet. The canvas object that it's going to draw to is this .car layer. Okay, from rect is null. X location, Y location, you can just put it 0, 0. The width and the height is 16 by 16. Okay, so that's going to be the canvas animation for the player. This dot player now. Okay, so we can get rid of this. This dot player equals new basic ninja. Okay, it's X location, Y location, the width is 16, the height is 16. The map, for now, we'll just say maps.level1. The canvas animation is player animation. We'll pass it in. Don't clone map, we'll put 1, delta times 0, tile width 16, 16. By default, tile width and height is 16. Map rows, we don't have to define all of it. So the player is a basic ninja, and this will be its canvas animation. Okay, now the first thing we'll have to do is define animations for the canvas animation. Right now it's not doing anything. So to do that, we say player animation define animation, for example, left. Okay, and what it expects is an array of the XY index value of each frame of animation. Okay, so the first frame of animation for left is this. Let's clear this. To make an animation, you use this little corner down here, the animation corner. So let's say, for example, left, and then we press change Annie. Okay, and this would be the first frame. This would be the second frame. Now, the world is 16 by 16, and everything is colliding at 16 by 16, but the player animation is 32 by 32. And if you notice, I'm just taking the top left of each frame, not the full 32 by 32, and using that. Okay, and then we'd press get animation, get Annie's, and that gives us the full animation specs object. And when we use the define animation method, we only need this inner array right here, okay, which is the array of each XY index of each frame. Go ahead and copy that and plug that into right here. Okay, and so that's how we define animations. We can use this tool to get these arrays. Okay, so it can both give us the whole level array by clicking one of these, and animations by placing each frame of animation in here and then clicking on get animation. Okay, so I've done that for each animation. There they are. And we'll also say this dot player dot. Okay, the default is 0.285 or something like that. So we raised the gravity level a little bit. With that, we have our player. Okay, now to get it to move, down here in the loop method, we just have to say this dot player dot move. Okay, and I've made CB a reference to this.controller.buttons, which is handling both touch and keyboard input. Okay, and because we've set auto animate to 1, then inside of move, it's also animating the canvas animation for us. And we've already drawn the map, right? And then we've also passed in the map to the player. And we're going to talk about that a little more here. But we can save it and run it. Okay, right, I didn't. Okay, so that's without, I forgot to include the offsets. Okay, so now it's only drawing that 16 by 16 area of the player, because what I forgot to type here is player animation dot from width offset is going to be 16, and also dot from height offset equals 16. Okay, so we're doing that because we want to keep everything colliding. The width of the animation that we're saying is 16. The width of the player and height of the player is 16. We're colliding at 16 by 16 to make everything easy. So the only thing we'd have to do now to have whatever size is just set these offsets, which is telling it to draw 16 more both ways, pretty much. And it's also automatically, when it draws it, it's going to center it. So that's all we have to set. And then we should see the player properly. There he is. Okay, jumping around in the scene. Okay, now the camera will follow the guy. Okay, and so he's interacting with these spike spots also. You can jump on it. We haven't done the spikes, and also this, we want him to be able to go, that when he goes through this, that's the end of the level, and we want some gratification at the end of each level. So it'll stop and say level complete, and then he'll walk through there. Okay, we're going to do all that. And then some of these spots that he's interacting with are where we have coins. Okay, so he's interacting with areas we don't want him to.